Hello and welcome to the Comedy Club podcast. I am Dustin Kaufman. Thank you for watching. Follow us across the board simply at The Comedy Club KC, and find us online at thecomedyclubkc.com. With me this week, man, it's so great to be here. A very cold weekend for you to join us, Mr. Finesse Mitchell, ladies and gentlemen, in the house. Thank you.
Thank you for the invite, sir, up here to the Bat Cave.
I appreciate you coming up here, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's been so far colder than I expected, but great crowds and a beautiful club. And the club looks way better in person than what I see online, if I can say that.
Like from the stage clips?
Yeah, just from the, I don't know what it is. I walked into the showroom and I said, oh, y'all need better pictures. Y'all need some dope-ass pictures.
What, just more pictures showing? Because I've heard that. I've heard a lot of comics that, enjoy it because it is just, it feels like a club.
That's what I said. When I walked in, I said, oh, this is a comedy club. This is, Cats at the Cellar in New York or the Comedy Store in L.A. They'd be like, oh, snap. The vibe, the color, the ceiling, how they you're fired, Sierra. How they it just feels good in there, The stage is the right height, it's the right size.
But when you see the black and white brick online,
I like that.
Well, then what do you?
I don't know.
What do you see online that?
I saw something and I was just like, you know what? Pictures of it just packed out.
Yeah. And
just like a motion type of reaction.
Right.
Show that.
Yeah,
I think it was a picture of an empty club.
Oh, maybe there was just a couple people. They were there early, and
maybe it was it's just like, does anyone know about this club?
Yeah. Oh, they do.
Yeah, and then when you walk in, you're like, oh, this is and there is a comedian by the name of Nate Jackson. He has a club up in Tacoma. I felt the same way about his club. Just looking at pictures, I was like, I don't want to go there. And then when I went there, I was like, it's beautiful. Oh, he was like, yeah, you didn't know? And I'm like, no, that's why I've been avoiding you for 2 years. I knew you was going to try to get me to come up here, but I'm glad I did. So now I'm glad that I came to this comedy club because I'm like, oh, snap, it looks great.
One thing I will say about that is, I feel like we've done, it's in a strip mall. Yeah, right? And there's, a bar over here and a Great Clips and chicken places over here, right? But I feel like once you...
I thought you did that for me. The chicken place was there before I got here? Oh. Somebody told me that.
Finesse it's a wild writer. We have to open a jerk chicken place 2 doors down.
Yes.
That is in his writer.
Yes, and when I pulled up, I was like, now see, this is how talent gets treated. But you just let the cat out of the bag. But go ahead, I digress.
But I do feel that, when you walk in our doors, I feel like... I do feel like we've done a good job of creating a world inside of the doors from this area. We've been lucky to have Josh, our house photographer, who's here almost every week. So, the walls are just lined with, it's not paintings of past comedians or comedians that have never been here or will be here. Our walls are lined with the comics that have helped keep these doors open since day one.
Right.
We have the locals on the inside. It's so cool, especially when I think about those pictures when I'm like, this started with one picture. And now it's just every inch of the lobby and the hallway, and it's really cool.
I got to SNL in 2003, and the thing that probably impressed me the most. It's called they call the building 30 Rock, and when you go to the 18th floor, you go out, you make a right, but there's this very long hallway that leads to the table read room where everybody crams in there to read sketches and stuff. But at the as soon as you get in that hallway, first person you see is John Belushi. So you're like, oh, nice John. Oh, Chevy. Oh, Garrett, oh, Gilda. And then you're like, oh, snap. So I immediately ran down the hallway, and I saw everybody. I saw people I didn't expect to see. Damon Wayans. I was like, I didn't know Damon was on SNL. Ran to the end of the hallway. No picture of Finesse Mitchell, no picture of, Keenan Thompson. And then like 3 weeks into the first season, just 3 weeks, I walk down the hallway and I see my picture. Nobody even tells you, hey, your picture's up there.
8x10s or what?
8x10s, black and whites. And it's everybody who's ever been on the show.
They're all black and white?
All black and white.
Okay.
And I was just like,
that's got to feel amazing.
I think I cried a little bit. It was so long ago, but I think I looked at it, and I think maybe Fred Armisen, who I love, if anybody out there is SNL people, touched me on the shoulder and said, hey, bud, handsome, and keeps walking. And I'm just like, I need more people to say something, and I saw my face and Keenan's face back to back, and I was just like, wow, I'm in this building for a very long time, for forever, because of course, look at all the people that's come after me.
They leave him there.
And and now I'm sure that thing has wrapped all the way around to the other side of the building by now, but it's a cool feeling. So walking into your club, there was one other club that I went to that I played where they had a section for locals. And I remember this dude standing in this little hallway right before the kitchen and then the showroom. But it was he was just standing there. And I'm like, why are you hanging out in here? He said, because I want my picture right there. And I never seen this guy before. And I never seen any of these comics. And I was like, who are these people? He was like, oh, these are the locals that start to stand out in the club, show them love. I'm like, oh, gotcha. So when I saw your hallways and just like the frames, everything match. You ain't got no gold frame, black frame, white frame. Everything is, what I'm saying?
Amazon's
so you're not doing that. Sierra's in here like doing interior designing because all the curtains and the mugs. Look, people, like the mug matches the curtains, matches the logo.
I would have given you. I'll give you most of what you said. I bought these mugs. All right, I bought the mugs.
Yeah. Well,
I asked Sierra. I was like, let's put curtains right here. We had the curtains for something else, so I bought the freestanding. We made some adjustments here. So, but yes,
you're missing your calling.
Alyssa, my general manager, who does so much here, she will. She'll frame. She loads the pictures, frames them up, hangs them up. Sometimes she'll get on ladders and just she'll. But yeah, she's the one. She definitely is continuing.
And it has a good rep. I mean, there are comedians that speak very highly of the club, very highly of the vibe. A lot of people who open up comedy clubs who've been in the business for a very long time get so burnt out, they don't even come say hello to comics till it's time to settle up. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even know who the GM is until on the last day. You're like, who are you?
Right.
Hey, Finesse, thank you for coming out. You're like, you know what I mean? But the vibe is great.
I love that aspect.
And you feel like a fan of comedy.
Well, I've been in the industry for 25 years.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
For me right now, I'm pretty much single dad. An 8 and a 9 and a 10-year-old, however old they are.
Hey, bro, I feel that. Don't judge us.
They're a 9 and a 10-year-old. So, like, for me to be so cemented into the industry still, and to be able to be at home with my kids still, and just be a part of this industry, it means so much to me. I love I'm not traveling. I'm not, road, whatever. I'm really love this industry, and I'm really glad to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So I do the club. Like I have a pretty cool schedule. You know what I mean? Hey. Like I don't judge. But so like you talk about your picture on the wall there and the feeling. I know that, my dad was always a big fan of mine. He'd always very supportive of my stand-up. He'd always come out and he'd laughing in documentaries I've done with comedy, and on my album you can hear him laughing. Like so, like, but he passed before I opened these doors. And I know early on there was times where I looked at the built and I thought of him, and like, look, when I saw the Undertaker's entrance at WrestleMania, I shed a tear because I missed my dad. So like, if I saw that moment, if I saw my face on the Saturday Night Live hallway, that would be a go-to place for me. Who were some of the people, and what were some of the thoughts you had sincerely when you saw your face on the wall?
I thought to myself, I didn't say I'm getting into stand-up comedy to be on Saturday Night Live. I think I've met people that said I've always wanted to be on Saturday Night Live. I felt bad for them because I knew they would never be on Saturday Night Live versus me being a person who never thought about being on Saturday Night Live and was only watching it when Eddie Murphy was on and then was watching it when Will Ferrell was on. And then after that, you're in the streets on Saturday night. You're trying to get on stage. So you don't really know who's on the show. Then you would see something with Adam Sandler or you see something with David Spade and then you see something with people that's just like, oh, show's still on. It was literally the rent is due, Tracy Morgan is leaving, and they are casting for another black guy. So I'm like, I'm black. Where do I go to audition? And so I remember my manager at the time, Dave Raff, he was like, you don't do sketch. And I was like, what's sketch? I don't give a fuck. Get me in there. You know what I mean? And so then it was just about just getting in there and being funny.
So you had your manager get you the audition.
Yeah, you got information is king, bro.
What does an audition for Saturday Night Live look like?
Well, you send in a tape or they're having a showcase.
Was it a VHS or DVD?
Back then it was a VHS. Yeah. I sent in a VHS tape.
I remember going around the country handing out my DVDs with headshots. I totally, you know.
It was definitely not a DVD.
The stack of VHS tapes at the old comedy club in town from the submissions when I started was really cool. They actually kept a lot of them. So they'd have like, you know, Lewis Black's fucking like 80s, 90s, his 90s like submission VHS tape and all these guys were like, this is their promo reels.
When I see a VHS tape now, I think of porn. I can't help but think of porn. Anytime I see anybody with a damn VHS tape, I'm looking at them like, you know.
So you send in the tape.
I sent in the tape.
And is that like characters, voices? What does like that submission tape look like?
Back in the day, bro, I had this bit. There was this movie, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Great karate movie. Won all the awards at the time. I had this bit about how black people at the Magic Johnson Theater down on Crenshaw found out this movie had subtitles. It was hilarious. Like when they found out they had to read for 2.5 hours, so I had to act it all out. And that's when this character I created called Starkeisha came up, because I'm sitting in this theater behind this group of girls. One was called Starkeisha, one was Appreciante, the other was Farajaka. So I made up all this whole world. And I was them being loud, having a birthday party with cake and everything inside the theater. I was the white dude trying to get them to, you know, calm down and be quiet. I was the usher. I was sitting behind the person. People thought I was Derek Fisher from the Lakers. Like, I created this whole world, and that's what I did for 7 minutes. I took you inside this movie theater.
Was it a live performance in front of a live audience, or was it like a studio?
It was it was me on tape, basically. I sent in my tape. Oh, we love this tape. I want to meet this guy.
Okay.
Then it was me in a comedy club 2 times. Then I got invited to come to Studio 8H.
They came to watch you perform.
They came to watch everybody perform.
Okay.
So I was probably number 16 in Group C. It was a bunch of people, you know. And so I made it into the final 8. The final 8 went into, you know, the studio. You just audition into the light. You see the red camera light back there. And it's just you're on the stage where they do the monologue for SNL. And you're doing your audition, and nobody's saying anything.
That's your first time standing on that stage, too.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Walking in there to audition and then to be on this stage, like, this is the first thing you see almost every episode after they're live from you. I mean,
after the cold open.
The caliber of talent that has stood on that stage. So does that take a part when you walk out for your audition? Does that add to the nerves and the excitement?
Knew nothing about SNL like that. I was just like, oh, that's our stage. Where are the people? Who's gonna laugh? Yeah. They were like, just, you know, you hear somebody in the shadows saying, "Go ahead, And you just start talking, I guess.
Unmotivated.
So now I'm looking at the camera, and so I said to myself, I'm going to make that cameraman laugh. I am going to make this cameraman laugh. So I go hard, bro. I'm acting it all out. The people, they was reading out loud. Some people was using their finger. It was just this big act out joke about people trying to read subtitles before the screen changed to something else. Fuck, I almost did it. Did you get to the end? No. So it was just this crazy bit, bro. And all of a sudden I heard, and when I heard that, I was like, ooh. So then I kept going, and then all of a sudden you heard, I was like, yeah. So I knew I was killing it because there was only literally 3 people in there trying not to laugh, but they were laughing. And then the people that was sitting at the back table in the shadow, like one of those movies where you just really walk out onto a stage and you sing opera or you do ballet or whatever, and you do 30 seconds into it, and they're like, thank you very much, thank you. And you just stop and you walk off stage not knowing if you got it. It really felt like that. So after my 7 minutes, I walked off stage, and then I went to my little cubicle where I know now is where
the cameraman
it's our dressing rooms or whatever. But I went into the dressing room that they gave me, and I just sat there and I waited. And Steve Higgins, who's on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, he was the main producer back then. I think he still probably produces SNL. He might be too busy to produce SNL. But he came in there and he was like, Finesse Mitchell, huh? And I was like, yeah. He was like, where you from? I said, Atlanta. Where'd you go to school? I said, University of Miami. He said, oh. So are you married? I said, no. Have any kids? No. Said, oh, good job. I was like, okay. And then he walked out. And then I heard somebody go, psst. And I'm like, I'm looking around. And, they had, in the dressing room was these petitions. You know what I mean? So there was this big scene. And I saw this little eye where the person had kind of like cracked it open a little bit. And I said, who is that? He said, yo, this D-Ray. I said, what's up, D-Ray? He said, man, I think you got it. I said, why you say that? He said, because ain't nobody come in here and ask me shit. I was like, what? I like that. They didn't make up their mind. Something about 9/11 and the anniversary of it at the time when we were auditioning. And so they wanted everybody to get the heck out of New York. They just said, hey, man, want to get y'all back home to y'all families. We've heard something in the rumblings that, maybe it's just safe to fly back and we'll finish this later. They didn't make a decision. 2 weeks later, Lorne Michaels is, from what I hear, vacationing in Honolulu. He stops over in Miami, in L.A. The guys he wanted to see were all L.A. guys. So 6 of us came down to the Laugh Factory, and we auditioned again. And that was my home club, so I murdered it. And, that night I found out I was on SNL.
Did he come talk to you personally?
Hell no.
Okay.
Hell no. Lorne Michaels, man, one of the coolest cats in the game ever. Very sweet, very nice, but you're very intimidated. Everybody's very intimidated until you kind of break down that exterior that exists in your head. You don't, Lorne's one of those people that if he laughs at the table, you can ride that for 3 months. You'll be walking around there, hey, I made Lorne laugh 2 months ago. What happened? Everybody wants to know. What you do? What you say? He's just one of those guys, man. If you make him laugh or he just tells you good job, it just makes you feel good.
Did you get to work with Mel Brooks?
No. And if I did, I don't remember.
Because I saw you that you were
on the History of the World. I did.
Part 2.
He was not on set that day.
Okay. I was just going to ask if that was a similar vibe. But that's a shame that you didn't.
Yeah, I didn't get to meet him. Get to meet him. But that's a comedy that Gregory Hines is one of my favorite actors, entertainers. And so when I was a kid and I first saw the first History of the World, I thought that was the funniest shit ever, bro. Yeah. So
Lorne Michaels, is there anybody else that you've met in your life that, as a performer, respecting an elder or a mentor or something that kind of gave you that vibe? Chappelle,
man. It was just one of those things where one of his Def Jam comedy sets is one of the reasons I'm doing stand-up today. I don't know if I was in college. I don't know where I was, but I saw Chappelle on Def Jam. But I saw many people on Def Jam. Right. But I saw Chappelle on Def Jam, and it was about how they came up with the N-word, and I was just like, that is the most clever act out I have ever seen in my life. And I kind of patterned my stand-up comedy on act outs because it was the first time I saw what you could do besides tell a joke. He painted a picture, and I said, I want to do that. So, and then one day I was at the Dayton Funny Bone, or Dayton, whatever they call it. I think it was a Funny Bone. And he lives in Yellow Springs, which isn't that far. And somebody called me and said, hey, Dave wants to come pick you up and take you to lunch. And I said, stop. And he was like, yeah, no, he's in town. He said he's one if you're free tomorrow. And I'm like,
am I free tomorrow?
Am I free? Sure. Tell him I'm free. And it was,
you still thought they were fucking with you.
Thought they was fucking with me.
Yeah.
And so earlier that day, it was like 10 o'clock in the morning. I got a phone call, just trying to confirm your hotel, man. Where are you staying? And I was just like, Dave, dog, yeah. Told him my hotel, hung up. Dustin, I went shopping. I said, I can't wear this. Dave Chappelle is picking me up. And man, we went to Yellow Springs.
How long did you have to get ready before he was there?
Bro, I was in like one of those strip mall places. So he picked me up like 2 hours later.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But
did you literally hang up and go buy a new outfit?
Mm-hmm.
That's so amazing.
I was like, yeah, man, I'm hanging out with Chappelle.
You remember what
I called 3 people. Man, it was this I think I had on like an Adidas tracksuit, but it was definitely the jacket. But I just wanted to look, because I was at that stage in comedy where I was just like, I'm just gonna show up, t-shirt, jeans, and at that time in comedy, there was something called looking like a headliner.
Yeah, I hadn't
found that yet.
That's definitely changed a little bit these days.
It's changed now. Like it's back to t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies. Some.
It was look better than the audience members.
Yeah.
Be the nicest dressed one in the room. Like you don't want, but that is so far from.
Yeah. Now it's like you'll never get DL Hewley to wear a sweatshirt.
I will not let my local comics wear shorts on stage.
Yeah. Now that's disrespectful.
I'm like, who do you think you are, Sam Talent?
Yeah. That's disrespectful. No.
But they don't know.
Somebody who breaks open a white and then it was like when I got to LA, I saw Dane Cook and those guys literally breaking open Hanes white t-shirts and trying to get the crease out of the cardboard, but going on stage with the t-shirt and jeans. And I said, oh, that's what we doing out here. Everybody looked comfortable out there. But then coming from a BET Comic View world at the time, you about to perform. Cass was wearing those big suits with the big pants, and Steve Harvey looked back in the day. It just depends, But now it's finding your own style and feeling comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Me, I'm so handsome, bro. It don't matter what I wear.
Yeah.
Right, Sierra? She nodded yes, by the way.
Sierra wears that on stage.
Sierra, how long you been doing comedy? 9 months. 9 months. That's a good time.
Yeah. But she'll wear pants and a t-shirt for sure.
I think it's about being comfortable. And then
I used to always wear at least a blazer.
Did you?
But I would wear it with like purple combat boots and you know what I mean, and a work shirt with an afro. But it would help pull it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like one thing from homeless to like, oh, you clean up nicely. It's like
right.
You just put on a blazer. Like,
but see, I like that. I think like when Michael Blackson gets all, you can see people wearing dope ass stuff, and then when you see Michael Blackson, you say, no one has that.
Yeah.
I don't know who made that for him, but no one has that. And then just all the OGs that's out there touring, and they got gobs of money and stuff. They dress it up. I want to be comfortable because some of the funniest people, they're just not gonna dress up.
I think maybe some of what we see today with that is maybe people feel they don't have to dress up for anybody because like
they get into it not to dress up. That's one of the perks of comedy.
To not dress, not that, and there's no industry to impress for them when they're on stage because people are kind of creating their own pathways. They're creating their own followings. They're creating their own their own buzz. They're selling their own tickets. Mm-hmm. They don't have to like dress up to get seen and be put on TV to like get a fuss. So I think it's a little different in that era.
I think TV is done. I think the industry as we know it is done.
I mean, this is our TV budget.
This is TV. This is making it. Your own platform is what's in. Make this cool. Make them come to you. That's the new industry.
Yeah,
it's not even the new.
And nobody cares
it's
what
old
you look
now.
Like.
It's new.
I was gonna say nobody really cares what you look like when you're selling tickets, but the truth is, comedy doesn't care what you look like, and that's really at the end of the day, comedy doesn't care what you look like. Comedy doesn't care what you sound like. It doesn't care what your skin color is, who you sleep with. It doesn't care if you're fat or skinny, or if you have a big ears. Are you funny?
Dustin, I made so many mistakes sleeping with so many people that could not forward my career. The lies I was told. But now I realize, hey, man, you just need a good camera phone and a good service plan, clean lens. Sound is the most important thing. You need great sound, and then you just need to be consistent. And the audience will find you if it's what you're supposed to be doing.
Welcome back to the Comedy Club podcast. All right, going to jump right back into it with Finesse.
Welcome back, guys.
Woo!
Oh, my goodness.
Can I get the seat cushion?
Let me tell you something.
It hurts.
Fame hurts, guys. Big cost you got to pay.
What does...
Syrup. Take the baby oil. Oh, okay. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry, Dustin.
You could leave the baby oil. I'm okay with that. I was told there would be cuddling afterwards.
No, I am not a cuddler, sir.
Please be gentle with my feelings.
I am aware of my shoes.
What does a day look like? A standard work day look like on SNL, and what does the work week look like? Like hours, what time you going in, how much rehearsal, the writing?
Looking back on my experience, I didn't take it as seriously as I could have and should have. I didn't have a mentor to really guide me through it, but I had a time of my life. I just realized I was just using the opportunity. I was grateful and thankful, but it was just New York City and parties and famous people and famous musicians. And I became more wrapped up in that than trying to think of the next great character, the next great bit. Monday, we do the meet and greet. We're crammed into Lorne Michaels' office. We're all sitting on the floor like kids and sitting on couches around his office. But you probably got 30-something people crammed into an office.
It'd be like our Tuesday open mic, all sitting in one room.
Sitting in a room, right, bro. And he has two chairs in front of his office, like a standard office, big-time guru would have two chairs facing him. But everybody's sitting on the floor in between these chairs and around the walls. And my seat was the edge of a sofa that I would sit that was kind of like right up on his desk a little bit. But he would, and everybody would talk. We would do this.
Everybody had their own seat, their own spot.
Everybody had their spot.
This is where I usually sit.
Hey, you would not sit in somebody's spot.
That's all right.
You know what I mean? And everybody be in there talking, and the guest for that week is sitting in one of the chairs. I remember during my time, Horatio a lot of times would sit in the other chair across from the guest.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened, but that was his spot. Nobody said anything, but everybody's talking. It's just like classroom, and the guest is just sitting there, just like probably petrified if you haven't been there before because they don't know what's going on.
The guest is there from the day one is Monday morning.
Yes, day one is Monday.
So whoever's hosting, whoever's celebrity, they're there in that pitch with everybody
sitting
else.
in a chair. Lauren is doing something. He's not paying attention to the guest. Everybody's talking, and the guest is just sort of like. And then Lauren goes, you can hear a pin drop. And then he goes, Halle Berry's right there. And everybody goes, ah! And it scares the hell out of the person. And it was something that we did every Monday.
That's
Tom Hanks is here.
Does that help loosen them up a little bit?
Yeah, because I think they realized the gag was on them. That nobody said hello. Everybody just came in and sat down.
And
ignored the person. So they're just sitting in this chair just like, and Lauren's not even looking up. He's just, and then he'll look up and see that everybody's inside the room, and then he'll say, that's just black people. And everybody goes,
You guys get, the host of Saturday Night Live ranges from politician to athlete to actor to comedian to singer. So and usually just such a large caliber of personality and name on those hosts a lot of times too. Mm-hmm. But when they get in their first day, especially their first time in that writer's room on a Monday, do you see a different side of them? Do you see what the fuck am I getting into?
You think I would think, but let me say this correctly. You think as a cast member or a featured player of Saturday Night Live, first thing you think is, I want to be sitting in that chair one day. I want to host this show. And then the second thing you think is, what's all the hype about? This person seems pretty normal. This person seems pretty scared. I can tell I'm better than this person.
It's
a very humbling place to be. And we have you for a whole week. So whatever type of vice you have or whatever type of insecurity you have or whatever's going on in your personal life, it's going to come out. We going to see it. We are going to see it. So, a whole week to be around people is a very long time in Hollywood to try to act like, hi, guys. No. We're going to catch you on the phone with your agent cussing somebody out. We're going to catch you on the phone with your wife or your girlfriend saying this. Fucking Saturday Night Live. Give me a break. We're going to catch you if you got a drug problem, alcohol problem, whatever it is, something's going to start peaking on Thursday.
Obviously, I'm not going to ask for names, but right. When you find that somebody has a drinking problem and they start getting drunk during the day in the rehearsal, what does that do to the demeanor and the cast and stuff?
Nothing. You ignore it. You don't say shit.
You do the best you can.
Yeah, because then you realize it goes from let's make sure they have a great show to let's make sure I have a great show.
Let's just make sure the show is
Let's
great.
just make sure the show is great.
Right.
After that Monday, they come around to our offices, all our individual offices, and they peek in on you, and then they tell you what they may want to do, or you soft pitch them an idea that you have. But they got to go around and meet everybody personally in their office. Me and Keenan and I think JB Smooth shared an office at the time. So that was the black section of the offices or whatever. But then on Tuesday night, and then we go home. As soon as we do the meet and greet, we out of there.
Right. Pitch meeting, meet and greet, adios.
Grab some food somewhere and be out. Tuesday you come back in, but you don't have to come in till 4 p.m., 5 p.m. So you're there around 4 or 5, and then you write till 4 or 5 in the morning. You're there all night. There are many nights where me and Keenan left at midnight and came back at 3:30 in the morning. We went to the club and literally came back.
When you were coming up as a young comedian, did you have a writing buddy, somebody that you'd sit at diners with till 4 or 5 a.m.?
I did none of that, bro.
Oh, really?
I did none of that. It's pretty much like I do stand-up now. I may have probably 4 hours of jokes. I can literally probably be funny for 4 hours uninterrupted. So when they say go do 45 or 50, I'm just pulling the best of, and then I'm doing a gang of crowd work. That's where I'm at right now. I sometimes look at notes in my phone or whatever, but a set, I'm going to say this first and end with this. Who knows? Some of your comics have come up to me and said, you do something different every freaking night. And I'm just like, yeah, man, that's the fun of it. Because, there's a time to be super scripted when you're going to be on TV or you're on a theater show with 5 other comics and they say you have 20 minutes and you want to know what you're doing. If you're in a comedy club, that's when you take the cape off. Stop trying to be Superman. Put the glasses on. Be Clark Kent.
We definitely. One thing I have heard from comedians here is, or even noticed, even if they don't always come out and say it, I do feel comics feel very comfortable on my stage and free to work on new stuff, or just free to have fun. Yeah. And I think that's even more than working on new stuff. They're free to have fun, where they don't feel, it's that kind of environment. I think we've created an audience that appreciates that. That's, supportive of like the arts. We have smart comedy fans and stuff like that. So yeah, as far as being
the guy, what was his name the first night? Phil?
The first night?
Yeah.
Keith. And then Phil did first show last night.
Okay.
That was his first guest spot.
Oh, okay.
Phil, that was Phil's first weekend guest spot here last night. And he did really well.
Yeah, he did well.
Dude, I love our young talent here.
Yeah.
So it seems like SNL, you got into it as like a business. You're like, hey, this is a business move. Like, you stand up. It's like, dude, what was the project like? I don't want to just say like what was your favorite, but like,
let me say this. I would have done it totally different. I would have dated way more people. I didn't know you could Pete Davidson the whole damn list of women coming through there. I didn't know that. Laura Michaels told us not to talk to these people in that way. You know what I mean? But then, like, years later, all of a sudden, Pete's dating Kim. Pete's dating Ariana. I'm like, well, I had people who liked me. You know what I mean? I could have been Mr. Aguilera, Mr. Johansson. You never know. You know what I'm saying? But
so funny.
But yeah, man, that whole thing just really became like, writing whatever you thought was dope. And the frustrating part about SNL was that the sketch you spent 4 hours on, it doesn't get picked. But you got to turn in 2. So you just turn it in something at the last minute for the second one that you took 15 minutes to do. They pick it. It gets aired. You're like, what the frick? But you're still trying to go back and get that 4-hour sketch you wrote. But if it's a sketch for Queen Latifah, you got to wait till a Halle Berry or a Janet Jackson come because it's for a black woman. You know what I mean? Or you can try to rewrite it for a white woman. So you just got to try to be creative. So
you'll write something, put it on the back burner, wait till the guest is right.
Absolutely.
That's smart.
Bro, and every time we pitched in that meeting on Monday, because we went around the whole room and did a soft pitch. That's where JB Smoove became super famous. Every time he's on a night show talking about his sketches that never made it, he would just crack up the room with his pitches. And so a lot of times when the host would be there, if Tom Hanks is there, Finesse, hey, Mr. Hanks, Tom, sorry. Yeah, so I got this idea where you're at an ATM machine, right? And I'm standing behind you and you're getting real nervous and you're scared to put in your PIN number. And I'm trying to convince you like, hey, buddy, that's kind of racist. I'm not going to rob you. Just get your money and go. I'm late. And then you finally feel relaxed and you get your money. And then I'm next and then I get my money. And then you fucking rob me, bro. And then he's like, oh, I love it. And then we go through the whole show. Nobody writes that. I don't write it. You know what I mean? And the whole week, the show's over the next Monday. Hey, Halle Berry's right there. Hey, Halle, you look amazing. Finesse. Oh, sorry, Lauren. Okay, so Halle, you're at an ATM machine, and I'm standing behind you. We all do the same shit week after week. Sometimes you do a different pitch depending on who it is.
Do cast members, are they going up to the guests themselves directly trying to pitch things to get them to approve it on the side, or is it
no? Well, when they come to your office, you pitch them something. My formula was, what do you want to do? Who do you want to make fun of? Who do you want to go after? If it's Ashton Kutcher, he's like, fuck Justin Timberlake. I'm like, let's get his ass, But then 3 weeks later, Justin's on. Finesse, I heard you said fuck Justin Timberlake. That was Ashton. I did not say that. I just co-signed it. But let's get his ass. And now you're like, you know what I mean? So there was a lot of that going on, And I just came up through a great era where everybody was bubbling. Lindsay Lohan, Scarlett Johansson, Halle. It was guest after guest. Trump. I got to meet Trump, who was super cool back then. You know what I mean? It was a bunch of people that during that time, everybody was like, popping, but they weren't like mega stars, Some people were, but.
And you came up with a great cast of people.
Oh, my cast was.
I mean, the cast of people you worked with. I mean,
the cast that
started
came
with
through
Jimmy
in my
Fallon.
era, yeah, they are probably juggernauts in the industry
Jason
right now.
Sudeikis, Amy Poehler, Bill Hader. I mean,
Seth Meyers, Keenan.
Yeah, I mean,
all these people are working.
Andy
Kristen
Samberg.
Wiig, Andy, Will Forte. I love Chris Parnell.
I mean, really, some of the best people. I mean, in a great era. I know people say SNL has peaks and lows. That's definitely one of the some of the strongest cast members. Over the course of their span.
Tina, Tina was the mama bear. I remember when Twitter first came out, and they came to us to help promote it, and they was explaining it to us, and she was like, "So yeah, you want us to tell people what we're doing every minute of the day in 140 characters?" Yeah, Tina, that's basically it. Nah, fuck that. So we were all like, sorry, Tina said fuck that, we not doing it. You know what I mean? It was just one of those things, man. So yeah, it was a great time. The after parties were amazing, and what's dope is that Dustin, in about a month and a half, we'll be at the 50th reunion. We've all been invited back. So
that's great.
Yeah.
You're a part of that?
February 14th through the 16th, we will all be in Radio City Music Hall at a concert that Friday night, on Valentine's Day night, and then on Sunday the 16th, we're all watching a special live taping of Saturday Night Live's 50th reunion.
So
yeah,
when you say you'll all be at the Radio City, is there like a big to-do, a big presentation, an award, like not an award? Is it like
no? We're just all
live show.
Yeah, they're putting on another live show. It'll be a special.
Okay.
It'll be called SNL 50th. And most of the people in the audience will be old SNL cast members sitting there with their families watching the new cast.
Dude, that's cool.
And some of the people that they hand selected to actually participate in the show.
Is that more nerve-wracking than a normal audience?
I'm nervous just to go, just because it's like high school. You're going back, and unfortunately, it's also that feeling of, well, Kristen Wiig, you've done very well for yourself. And it's like, hey, Finesse, how's the comedy clubs? Bitch, I will knock you out.
I mean, because you're looking at what potential Eddie Murphys, Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, they're all going to be there. Rock is going to be there. Sandler's going to be there. Everybody's going to be there.
That's amazing.
Everybody. And then even the writers. And you might see Larry David. You might see different people that's just like. And then the friends of the show, John Hamm and Robert De Niro and Alec Baldwin, they're definitely gonna be there. And then just Lauren's friends. Like in my time, after the show, we'd be at the after party, and sometimes we'd take turns going to go sit in front of Lauren. We'd wait for somebody to get up, and then we try to walk by the table and hope he asked you to sit down. And he drunk.
You would just walk by.
You're just trying to.
That's so funny.
Finesse, have a seat. And you're just like,
calling.
oh, hey, Lauren. I didn't see you sitting here where you always sit every Saturday night at 3 a.m. But Finesse, this is Caroline Kennedy. Hi, Caroline Kennedy. This is Mick Jagger. Hey, hi, Mick. Hi, how you doing?
Oh my God.
Just random people, huh, Lauren? These your peeps. You know what I mean? And every week it would be somebody different, just hanging out with them.
So he goes and sits and with the guest that's amazing.
Yeah, at his table he's like, Finesse, you know Helen Hunt. Oh, hi, Helen, and then you know Dick Cheney. Dick fucking Cheney. Lord, what the
I've heard of
with Dick Cheney. Just the most random.
Lorne
people.
Michaels approachable in a day to
day. Yeah, if you're not intimidated.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're not intimidated.
That's probably. I think once you can get past that stigma with a lot of people.
Right. Because once you just start joking around with them and saying stuff, because me and Keenan wrote this sketch called Finesse Not Keenan, Finesse Not Keenan. And it was Will Ferrell was hosting, and we were saying how everybody was just like, yeah. And then there's a Finesse. I don't know, it's Keenan. Finesse Not Keenan. So we had this sketch where Will Ferrell was the host and Kanye West was the musical guest. and he was in the hallway, Will Ferrell going, and he was meeting everybody and saying what's up to everybody. And then you saw us walking towards him, and then you could hear him going, Finesse, not Keenan, Finesse, not Keenan, Finesse, not Keenan. And I said, hey, Will. And he said, hey, Keenan. And I said, I'm Finesse. And he said, fuck. And then Kanye West comes out the back, and he says, fucking told y'all they don't know the difference. And then he takes $50 from Keenan like they had a side bet, and they keep walking. And I look at Will all disappointed like, fuck, dude, it's only two of us. You know what I mean?
That's so
You had a
funny.
50-50 chance, Will. You blew it.
Are you a foodie?
A little bit, yeah.
I know you did the Great Bake War, which is,
Yes.
Was that... I mean, was that something in the back of your head? I mean, that because I've heard comics say, I would love to have a food show.
No, two things. What was that show called? Is it Cake? Is it Cake?
There is a Cake.
On Netflix. I got to be the judge of that. Mikey was the host.
Was that your first food show?
Yeah,
appearance?
but you don't eat it though. You know,
don't eat the cake?
No.
Why?
You can, but
you're just judging it.
I don't know those bakers like that.
That's fair. I mean, and there you're really just guessing which is it cake.
Yeah, which is phenomenal because the shit looks so like real.
Yeah.
I was embarrassed that I couldn't get like one guess right. Like I was fooled every time. The Great Holiday Bake World was a movie I did with LaToya
on
Luckett.
TV, it's one thing because you're seeing the close up, but you're probably 20 feet, 15, 20 feet.
Yeah, when you're that far back, you're like, that one looks like I see a hair coming off. So that one. Yeah. And no, man, it's phenomenal. Those guys are phenomenal. And those bakers, it's just, I wish I was hosting something like that because that's super dope. That's what I want to do. I want to host a game show or host a show where you just do like 5 in a day and you do it for like 3 weeks. You know what I mean? That's then you're out of there. And you go tour. Maybe you go do a movie or a TV show, but getting that game show or that talk show or something. Great Holiday Bake War was a movie with LaToya Luckett, and it's a Christmas movie. And we just went up to Canada for 3 weeks and shot a movie. And same thing about Bob Saget, who told me, if Disney offers you that kid show, you take it. Because it was kind of circulating that, hey, Finesse is up for this show called Ant Farm. He's going to be the dad. And I saw him, and he said, don't you turn that down, Finesse. Those kids are going to grow up, and they're going to buy comedy tickets. And everybody's shocked when they come and see me, and they think they're going to see the dad from Full House. And then I say, fuck, bitch, ho. And like, they don't know I'm so blue. They don't know I'm so, like,
I
one of the dirtiest comics in the game.
I mean, as a kid, I'm 44, right? And we definitely watched Full House. And I remember that first Bob Saget HBO special with Bobcat doing the pre-log and stuff like that. And he comes out, and I'm like, that's not Danny Tanner.
Right.
That is like not Danny Tanner at all.
And if you meet him in person, I mean, his wit, his jokes, and just normal conversation, effortless. But then, boom! I mean, his he's dirty. He's a filthy guy.
He ran. I forget the name of it offhand. He had a really good charity foundation for scleroderma, I think, from his sister and stuff like that. And so I would follow that. My dad had scleroderma and stuff too, so he dealt with that. So yeah,
super cool guy, man.
Yeah.
He did my podcast. Bob, you want to be on my podcast? When? Love to. I'm like, oh my God, man. Everybody in Hollywood needs to be like you. So yeah, he's super cool. But he told me to do that show. I'm glad I did that show. It's still on Disney Plus, and still people in the crowd like, yeah, I know you from Ant Farm.
I have a friend who had a big role on a Disney show, right? And he's J.C. Christ, if you know, great comedian, very friendly, so much energy, and it's not. And I even tell him, and I've talked to him about it. It's not these kids, like the parents probably. This is a show that the parents might not even watch with the kids because they trust the programming, right. But these kids will grow up. Yeah. And they will be like, "Oh my God, it's that guy!"
Right.
Like so, it's they stick with you.
Yeah, I love that bridge. And then now, it's
I wonder how much that is true today, though. Like, I mean, it'll help with recognizability, but I do. I do personally question if credits matter much right now. And they might go back.
To
it might
some.
change again.
It just depends on who you are, though.
Right. It depends on who you are, but like.
It depends on who you are, what's your fan base, where do people know you from? Because if people know you from Comic View, hosting Comic View, then, and they still come see you 20 years later. I know Bruce hosted Comic View, maybe have been in maybe 3 or 4 movies. I don't know all of his credits, but I know his main claim to fame is Comic View. But people still come out in droves to see Bruce. You know what I mean? And there are a lot of comedians.
I think that's different. I do think that's a little different.
How so?
Because he built his following that way when you could still build your following.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
So like it's not a credit thing.
It's not a credit thing.
There's definitely still people who sell and stuff but like I guess when I say that, like you can, like me, I can see the difference of like ticket sale, like the Tonight Show versus, dude, Kill Tony sells more tickets than an appearance on the Tonight Show.
Right.
So it's just,
but back in the day,
it
wouldn't have. If you murdered the Tonight Show,
100%.
you was the new flavor of the year.
So I don't even know how deep into this conversation
I didn't know who Cam Patterson was. He came to see me at the Orlando Improv with like 6 other comedians, and they were like, Finesse, OG. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then somebody whispered in my ear, that's Cam Patterson. I'm like, okay, yeah, tell him to get out of my green room. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then it was just like, hey, man, after the show, everybody, let's go hang out in the green room. And then I got to know everybody, and I was just like, okay, cool. And I'm glad I really wasn't a jerk. I'm never a jerk anyway. I throw anybody on stage. But then it was like, hey, Finesse, if you ever in Austin, hit me up, da-da-da. And then I was going to Austin to try to go to do the Joe Rogan stuff. And it was Cam Patterson who took me to all the clubs, got me on stage everywhere. And then I realized, oh, you connected with the Kill Tony and da-da-da. And, he's like a superstar now,
We got one more show tonight. We got the weather you're from Atlanta.
The weather outside.
So you're from Atlanta. You started in Florida. You live in LA now.
Yeah.
Definitely had your time in the east, northeast, stuff like that. Are you a rain or snow guy?
I love rain.
Yeah.
I don't like snow.
I would assume.
What can you do with snow?
Yeah. So we have one show tonight. We did in advance. The weather is predicted to be very bad and start,
It's already freezing out there.
It's starting to sleet just a little bit. It's like just a mist, but it is like in the 20s, and it's gonna get worse. So so you don't get stuck in a Kansas City hotel.
And he's gonna
days.
send me to the airport in a Subaru with ball tires.
With the ball tires. Here's a Hyundai Elantra.
On the news.
I've never felt less safe than when I drove my Hyundai Elantra. Like it wasn't honestly until I had this like Acura 4-wheel all-wheel drive that I was like, oh, this is what comfort actually feels like, and like feeling secure after driving next to semis and in rain and stuff like that.
I will say this to comic, and this is probably bad advice, but at some point in your lifetime, buy a really nice car. Something you can afford, but something with the seats and you feel the weight of the car. It's going to make you feel so good about yourself. And I will say this, I'll end on this. Lauren Michaels told me probably in our 3rd meeting, he said 2 things that changed my life. He said, Finesse, you're very friendly, but just remember the girls you meet at the after party on Saturday, a lot of them are pages. They work here. So you're going to see them on Monday. So that was one thing he told me to be mindful of.
So funny.
And then secondly, he said, save your money. Save your money. Finesse, save your money. And then buy a nice house. If you ever get a chance to buy a house, buy a nice house. That way, if you're ever having a bad day, every time you come home, you get to look around and say, somebody important lives here. And I was like, okay, cool. Does that mean you're letting me go? Yes. I said, damn it. Damn. Thought I was going to make the cut.
That's so funny.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much for being here. We got one show tonight, so make sure you don't get stuck in a hotel for 2 days. And
yeah, man. Thank you, man. Thank you for the accommodations. Thank you for the nice area. Everybody who's been over there was like, oh, they got you over here living fancy, you know. And thank you
and if you could
for these adjustments on the fly. Yeah.
Yeah. If you could just put in a good word to Kevin Nealon to do our podcast next week.
Yeah. Is he coming next week?
He'll be here. We got 4 sold out shows right now.
I'll hit him up. I'll tell him.
Man.
All right.
Thank you. Where can people follow you?
Man, I'm on Instagram, Finesse Mitchell. I am on TikTok, Finesse Mitchell 0. If you're a guru on TikTok or in your 20s, help me get back into my original page, which was just Finesse Mitchell. I'm locked out. So now I'm Finesse Mitchell 0 on TikTok. And the number 0 at that, not the word. And then Facebook, Finesse Mitchell, and go to finessemitchell.com for tour dates and anything Finesse.
All right. Follow us, the Comedy Club KC. Also, check out Shane Torres, Derek Stroop, and all the other wonderful comics that we've had on the podcast. All right. We'll see you next week.